Good morning, everybody. It's Barb Katie. I'm so glad to be joining you this morning. Here in West Virginia, it's a little bit cold outside, but it should warm up close to 60 by later on this afternoon, which is always a good thing. To start off everything today, I would simply like to say thank you so much to our 4 guests who joined me last week in discussing various areas of concern that they had and sharing some tips and ideas with you. I think that it was a wonderful meeting, and judging by your response, it is something that you seem to look forward to doing in the near future. So, with that in mind, what I would like to do is schedule our first Monday of each month together as our encourager meeting, where I invite different ones of you to join in the conversation with me and everyone else about what they have found to be most impactful, troubling, helpful, challenging, encouraging in their weight loss journeys. If you have someone in mind, or you particularly would like to take part in this, I welcome you to drop me a note. Just message me on Facebook. And as time moves along, I will be scheduling different people for the first Monday of each month to join in conversation with everyone. For today, what I thought we might talk about a little bit is turning what I have always referred to as friendly enemies into friends. When we're working on our weight loss journey, we do need help and support. All of us know that. And judging by the comments that you are still giving me concerning the primary reasons that you joined TOPS, you want that support and that accountability as well as you proceed in your journey. Sometimes people are well intended, but not necessarily helpful. I don't know if you have run into that, but I certainly have. One thing that I have learned is that those people around us, when we make changes in our life, sometimes get a little uncomfortable and wonder, well, if she's making these changes in her life, is that going to impact me and the relationship the two of us have together? I feel a little bit threatened because she's making all these changes, and it's not the way we used to enjoy our life together. So that's something I think we need to be sensitive to, because they want you in their life. They want to be sure that you love them just as much as you always did, that everything is good between the two of you, and without meaning to, in trying to keep things the same and reassure themselves that all will basically in that area stay the same, they tend to do some little things that undermine what we are intending to do. There are 3 different ways people tend to do this, and I think all of us can probably identify at least one person in each category, and I thought it might be helpful just to run through those a little bit, and maybe you can share ways that you have dealt effectively with people in your lives that seem to try to sort of get in your way, put up roadblocks without meaning to, thinking they're being helpful, but they really aren't. My daddy used to say, Brian, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And that sometimes really hits me square in the face. Sometimes my best intentions are not perceived the way I thought they would be, and I get in my own way. And something like that is often the case in situations like this. The first group of people that I'd like to mention to you are the people I call saboteurs. I think we all know these people. They put obstacles in our way. They may not realize that's what they're doing, but in fact, that is exactly what they're doing. For example, your significant other brings home your favorite type of candy bar or donuts, fresh donuts from the bakery, and leaves them on the kitchen counter for you. Even though you've asked, please don't do that because I have a problem dealing with that when you bring it into the house. I didn't bring it into the house because I have this problem. So, what do you do with this type of saboteur? I mean, they love you dearly. They're trying to do something they see as nice for you. What do you do? Well, the first thing is, I think we have to assume our responsibility in the process. Yes, they brought it home, but they didn't hold you down and force feed it to you. You don't have to eat it. That's number one. Accept the responsibility you have. Don't use their misguided generosity as an excuse for making a choice that gets in the way of the progress you want to achieve. And next, it might be helpful to clearly state to whoever it is that brought this goodie in just exactly what type of help you need. In a loving way, you can say, I love you dearly, and I know you're wanting to be nice to me, and I really appreciate that. But I won't leave these things alone until they're all gone. And it's not helping me. When you bring this in, I feel frustrated. I feel uncomfortable. I feel misunderstood. I really feel it would be helpful to me if you would not bring this in. That's another way you can help me in my journey. And once you've said that to them, you've set some parameters, and you can move forward from then. And you may have to remind them from time to time, just say, darling, I love you dearly, but how I feel about you is not defined by how many donuts you bring into the house. So saboteurs are a fact, and they're people that love you so much. The next type of individual that sometimes thinks they're helping, but isn't always is the pusher. I would say probably the pushers in my life are the senior family members in my family. They're similar to saboteurs in that they undermine my efforts by appealing to my emotions, and they sort of give me permission to lapse. For example, saying things like, one little bite's not going to hurt you. You've been working so hard. You deserve this one little treat, or you deserve to take a break. It's not going to ruin all your efforts. I know that my sister fits in this category. She loves me dearly, but she feels very uncomfortable when I'm focused and on task and losing well. And without meaning to, she will try to appeal to my emotions and my love of her to get me to act in a way that is not helpful to me. And she, like me, has a weight issue, and she struggles with it just as I do day to day. Sometimes minute to minute, the struggle continues. And one of the things that she did to me once, we had gone to a favorite local restaurant, and they had a little dessert there that was really a favorite for both of us. And as my younger sister, she could always sort of sweet talk me into things. And she's sitting there at the restaurant with me, and we'd had a salad, we'd had a good dinner, and she just looks at me and she said, sis, I'd really like dessert. And I said, oh, would you now? And she said, yeah. And then she gave me the hook line to appeal to my emotions. She had told me she wanted it. I'm her big sister. I want to please my baby sister, and I'm all primed. And she says, if you'll have a piece of hot fudge cake with ice cream, I will too. Well, there you go. If I don't do this, the implication is I'm going to deny her. It's not true. If she wants to have it, she's a big girl. She can choose to have it. Her decision to have that treat should not be predetermined by what my decision would be. But that's a way she can sort of push on me an action she really wants me to perform. And what I basically said to her, and this is something you can try with the pushers in your life, is I thanked her. I said, Judy, you're right. That really sounds good. But you know as well as I do, that is a huge problem for me. And it's just not something I can deal with. Could you maybe choose something else? There's a fruit cup on there. I love fresh fruit. I know you do too. Why don't we try that instead? Well, sometimes if you can distract them and give them something else they can do, they will move away from what they were trying to do for you. And that can be really, really helpful to them and to you as well. You want your family and your friends to help and support you, not be threatened by the changes you make, and to encourage you in the direction you feel you best want to go. The last one is, I think, the more difficult one for me to handle, simply because you have to be pretty strong with them. And these are the people I label in my life as the enforcers. They're well intended too. These people are watching me like a hawk. They are just on my case, observing everything I do, almost every moment I do it. And trust me, I'm not that interesting that you would want to devote that much time and energy to what I am or am not doing. But they're trying to make sure that I stick to what they have decided is my program. Doesn't mean it's what I've decided, but in their mind, they know what I should do. And they're going to make sure that I do it. These are the people that when you're together in a family setting where food is involved, will look at that, whatever you have on your plate, and say things like, is that on your diet? Well, how judgmental is that? What business is it of you what I put on my plate? And I'm sort of a contrary, stubborn person. Chances are, I'll think to myself, may not say it because I try to always be polite, but I think to myself, who are you to tell me what I should and should not eat? I'm a grown-up. I have got to make these decisions for myself. You telling me what I should and should not do is really not all that helpful. There are also the people that say, well, you can waste your money on that if you want. Not helpful. Not helpful at all. But they think they're trying to help. I do not need to go out with the food police. I really don't. I can make intelligent choices on my own. And that's really what you need to say to an enforcer. It just, I know you mean well, and thank you so much for looking at what I am choosing to eat for this meal with you right now. But that's not helpful. You're not always going to be with me in every situation, and I need to learn to own my choices. I need to be a big girl. I need, no pun intended, I need to be able to look at an array of food and say, this is appropriate for what I want to accomplish this week. Uh, this I am willing to do a little bit extra work for or cut back in other areas throughout the day to make a judgment so it fits in my daily food plan. I am an intelligent person and I can make good choices. And often you can get that person to be on your side and to be helpful. And I'll give you a clear example of the difference it can make. Uh, if they make their choices and I watch and they never say a word and their choices are good and healthy ones, that is more empowering and more helpful to me to learn by the example they are presenting to me than for them to monitor and chastise choices I am making. And if we can just get into open communications with each other in all areas, whether that person be a saboteur, a food pusher, or an enforcer, you can turn those people into being the friends you need to help you along your way. And that's the goal. They have different reasons, but all those reasons tend to be based in a desire to be helpful. And it's our responsibility in our journey to inform the people in our lives of how they can best help us. So, do you have somebody in your life today that you could have conversation with to turn the tide so that they can truly be what they feel they are being, helpful to you in your weight loss efforts and your weight loss journey? Can you say to them exactly the type of help you need from them for them to be a full partner with you in this journey and help you reach the goals you seek? Think about it. Think about some conversations you might have with some of your loved ones, and be sure to have an awesome day. Get out and about. It's wonderful outside today. Love you dearly, and I will talk to you again real soon. Bye for now.